Open your fridge right now. There's probably something in there that died for you. Chicken, beef, maybe fish. You didn't kill it. You didn't even think about it. You just bought it. But imagine that tomorrow, every single human on Earth stopped. No more meat. Not a single bite. 8 billion people. All of them suddenly eating only plants. It sounds like a solution. Scientists have been pushing for it. Activists have been demanding it. But what would actually happen, biologically, ecologically, and to the human body itself, is not the story anyone is telling you. For 3 million years, your ancestors ate meat. Not occasionally, constantly. They cracked open bones for marrow. They ate organs raw off the ground. They tracked animals for days across open plains and killed them with their bare hands and sharpened rocks. Meat was not a luxury. Meat was survival. And over those 3 million years, your body built itself around that food. Your stomach acid is nearly as strong as a car battery, pH 1.5. That is the kind of acid you need to break down raw animal protein and kill the bacteria crawling all over a fresh carcass. Herbivores, animals that actually evolved to eat only plants, have stomach acid 10 times weaker. Your gut is short compared to a cow or a gorilla. Herbivores need long digestive tracts to ferment tough plant fiber. Yours is built for fast processing of dense animal protein. Your body can synthesize most of what it needs, but not everything. Vitamin B12 does not exist in plants. It never has. It is produced by bacteria in animal tissue. Without it, your nervous system begins to break down. Your myelin sheaths, the insulation around every nerve in your body, start to degrade. First comes fatigue, then memory problems, then, in severe cases, paralysis. For all of human history, we got B12 from meat. Every vegan alive today gets it from supplements, which means they get it from labs that grow the bacteria artificially. The plant-only diet only works because of industrial chemistry. Take that away, and the deficiency begins in weeks. There is also the question of complete protein. Meat contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own. Most plants do not. You can combine plants to get all 9, but you have to know what you are doing, and you have to have access to a wide variety of foods. For 8 billion people spread across every climate on Earth, that is not a simple equation. But here's where it gets complicated, because the argument for a meatless world is not wrong. It is just incomplete. Livestock agriculture currently uses 77% of all farmland on Earth and produces only 18% of global calories. That math is brutal. If you took all the land used to grow feed for animals and used it to grow food for humans directly, you could theoretically feed billions more people. The carbon argument is real too. Livestock produces roughly 14.5% of all global greenhouse gas emissions. That is more than the entire transportation sector. A single cow produces between 70 and 120 kilograms of methane every year. Methane is 80 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than CO2 over a 20-year period. If every human stopped eating meat tomorrow, within decades, atmospheric methane levels would begin to drop. The math on climate is genuinely on the side of less meat, but here's the part nobody wants to talk about. If humanity went fully plant-based overnight, we would not just stop eating animals. We would stop needing most of them. And that raises a question that sounds simple until you actually think about it. What do you do with 10 billion livestock animals? Right now, there are approximately 1 billion cattle on Earth, 1 billion pigs, nearly 30 billion chickens. These are not wild animals. They did not evolve. We built them. Over thousands of years of selective breeding, we created creatures that cannot survive without us. Modern dairy cows produce so much milk that without being milked multiple times a day, they suffer. Broiler chickens grow so fast their legs often cannot support their own weight. These animals cannot be released into the wild. There is no wild to release them into, and you cannot keep feeding billions of animals you are no longer eating. The most likely outcome, and scientists have modeled this, is mass culling. A global meatless transition would almost certainly begin with the largest animal slaughter in the history of the planet, the very thing it was meant to stop. And then there is the land itself. Remove 77% of current agricultural land from food production for humans and something has to happen to it. The optimistic answer is rewilding. Let it go back to forest, to grassland, to wetland. Carbon gets absorbed, biodiversity recovers. That is the hopeful version. The realistic version is messier. Land does not rewild itself in a decade. It takes generations. And in the meantime, the economic collapse of the global meat and dairy industry would erase the livelihoods of roughly 1.3 billion people worldwide. most of them in the poorest regions on Earth. Pastoralists in sub-Saharan Africa, small farmers in South Asia, communities in the Amazon basin where plant-based alternatives are not culturally available, not economically accessible, and not nutritionally complete given local conditions. The global South did not build the carbon problem, but it would pay most of the cost. But here is what would actually happen to the human body if the whole species went plant-based and stayed there. Not in theory, biologically. Within the first generation, nothing dramatic. Humans are remarkably adaptable. Populations would adjust, supplements would patch the gaps, agriculture would shift, but across multiple generations, something subtler would begin. The gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your intestines, would change. We already know this happens within weeks of a major dietary shift. Plant-based diets grow different bacterial populations than meat-based ones. Some of those changes appear to be beneficial, lower inflammation markers, reduced rates of certain cancers, better cardiovascular outcomes on average, but the microbiome is not fully understood. Scientists are only beginning to map which bacteria do what, and the honest answer is that a species-wide dietary shift of this magnitude has never happened before. We do not know what we do not know. There is one more thing, the oldest thing. For almost all of human history, the act of hunting, killing, and sharing meat was not just nutrition. It was culture. It was the moment around the fire when the tribe ate together from a single animal. It was a story told about the hunt. It was the ritual, the sacrifice, the offering. Food is never just fuel. It is memory, identity, and belonging compressed into something you put in your mouth. Every cuisine on earth is built around the animals that live nearby. Lamb in the Middle East, pork across Asia, beef on the American plains, salmon along the Pacific coast. Strip the meat out and you do not just change the diet, you change who people are. None of this means eating less meat is wrong. The evidence that industrial animal agriculture is unsustainable is overwhelming and real. But the idea that one dietary choice solves the problem cleanly, without cost, without consequence, without trade-off, that idea is not science. That is a story we tell ourselves because the real answer is harder. Your body spent 3 million years being built by meat. The planet spent 10,000 years being reshaped by livestock. You cannot undo either of those things with a single decision, no matter how well-intentioned. The next time someone tells you the answer is simple, that is the moment to start asking harder questions.